Good morning. Welcome to my FLOSSTUBE channel. I'm working on a cross stitch project. It's a bookmark. It's going to have some books, and then I think I'm going to put a dragon on this one. I have several others that I do too. I've got one with an owl, one with a teacup, that kind of thing. But let's work on this for a bit, shall we? While I talk to you about what lessons I learned from the A Million Lives Book Festival, because I have been seeing so many videos talking about what happened, what went down, all the chaos that ensued, and I need to talk about that as well because it's all I've been thinking about for a while now. But I would like to switch it up a little bit. Let's talk about the lessons that we can learn from that situation instead of just talking about the situation and being like, oh my God, did you see what she did? Yes, we did see what she did. But hindsight is 2020, that the decisions that we would make are very different from the decisions that she might make because we don't know what life she's lived up to now. We don't know her situations. We don't know what she's been through. We don't know any of that. So we can talk about what we would do in that situation all we want. Yes, absolutely. But it will not change that the situation happened. And I think that more people need to see this as a learning experience instead of just a talking point. So let's talk about some lessons that we can learn from the A Million Lives Book Festival that went awry a couple weekends ago. Now, if you want details about the festival, like stats and facts, I highly recommend Percy J's video on this. Percy J was actually there at the convention, so they can give you much truer information than anyone else I'm going to send you to because they were there. So, my first lesson that I learned through all of this was as a vendor, as someone who does conventions and arts. Like, I normally do arts markets. That's what I am cross stitching these for. Is I do an arts market about 4 times a month where I sell my bookmarks. So I do events like that, and eventually the goal, I would love to be able to bring my bookmarks to conventions and sell bookmarks at a convention. That is the goal, right? So now, when I am not in that space where I can do that, I'm going to learn as much as I can about what to actually do in that situation, right? So the first lesson is ask questions. If you're going to be a vendor somewhere, if you're going to be selling your wares at an event, ask a lot of good questions, right? Now, um, I am not disparaging anyone who went and lost money. I 1000% think that they should be compensated for the work that they did, for their time there, for all of it, right? They need to be compensated. But if we're being honest, in looking at the information that we have been given from the vendors and things, I have seen some red flags pop up, right? Um, Not nearly enough, because let's be real clear here. I would have fallen for it too. Like, I 100% would have been in that building at that convention crying in a bathroom because of how badly it went, right? I would have done that. Okay? So that's why we're learning lessons, okay? Ask questions. Now, were people asking her questions and getting answers that may or may not have been true? Yes, they were getting answers, right? But for a convention this big, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I would not have even asked the questions that were asked of her by the vendors, right? Like, I wouldn't even think to bring to ask those questions at this point, right? Um so yes, number one lesson is ask questions as a vendor. Now, was she maybe not telling the truth when she was giving those answers? Yeah, for sure. I have seen several things that definitely I'm not quite sure how they could have been true at any point. But ask questions. Okay. Point number 2 is helping others. How do I want to word this? So I have seen one of my favorite things that I have seen in the last couple weeks about this event is all the authors hyping each other up. Like, it is absolutely beautiful to see how many of them are like, yes, I did this event. No, it didn't go well, but here's what did go well. Here's the people I met. Here's the things that we did, that kind of thing. I also saw stories of people helping out other vendors and authors. I know that I'm saying vendors. It's because I'm a vendor. I understand that all of these people were authors, not just vendors, right? Like, I understand that. Um, but I just, I loved the stories that I heard of, like, so they were told that tablecloths would be provided. And then they all got there, and there were not tablecloths. There were barely tables. And sometimes there were not chairs. Cue the panel where there were no chairs, right? But I heard several videos talking about how there were vendors who either brought their own tablecloths or went out and got some tablecloths and were helping everybody else. Be a helper in that situation. But also, don't be ashamed to be the one who needs the help in that situation, right? You are not perfect. There is no perfect person. There's no perfect vendor. There's no perfect salesman, right? But you can be a good friend to a stranger. You can be a helper, right? So I've loved seeing the videos of them helping each other, giving tablecloths to each other. Um, like, it's just been so cool to see what I already knew about the vending community, right? Like, I know, because I go to vendor events almost every weekend, I know that there are some really sweet people out there who are absolutely prepared all the time, right? I am not one of those people. So I am very thankful to see that there are still those people out there who are very um, prepared and ready to go, but also prepared and ready to help other people. It's a beautiful thing. It's absolutely beautiful. So, lesson number 1, ask questions of the event. Lesson number 2, help each other, but also don't be afraid to ask for help. Okay. And then lesson number 3 is don't be mean. Okay. Don't be mean. Don't be mean. Should the person who ran this event have canceled this event? Yes. 1000%. Yes, they should have canceled this event. It was not a good event. It did not go well. People lost money. People lost the will to keep doing this thing called art, writing. You can't tell me that there's not a single vendor there who went home thinking, should I actually do this whole author thing when things like this happen? And if you are that person, or you are like that person, let me tell you, that was a one off. Will you attend bad events in the future? Yeah, absolutely. That's a part of being a vendor and selling at markets. You never know who's going to come by your table. You never know what the weather's going to do. My show last weekend was rained out, right? And I was hoping to have some Mother's Day cash, but I didn't because my market got rained out. That's okay. Don't quit. Okay? Please believe me when I tell you, You don't need to quit because of a bad event. Okay? I I've been there. I've absolutely been there before. I have been to those events that just flopped and nobody showed up. I remember an event last year. I did, it was back in October actually. And I thought it was going to be one of my best events of the entire year. I was so pumped. It was over in the city next to ours, which is, I live by the beach. So that's a beach town and they got money at the beach towns, right? So I was expecting to sell out that day. And maybe 10 people showed up to the entire day from 10 to 4. Maybe 10 people showed up the entire day, and it was really discouraging. Okay, I know what it's like to go to an event like this where you go in walking in thinking you're going to sell everything, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is such a great opportunity for me. And then you look back on the event and you're like, why did I do this? Right? I know that there are some of you who were at the A Million Live Books Festival who are thinking that right now. And again, I just need you to remember, do not quit. Okay? The world needs your work. Please don't let one bad event take away your joy for art. Okay? Now, I don't think I ever actually said what my third point was. My third point is not everybody can organize an event, and that's okay, right? I know for a fact I would not be able to plan an event like this. I have attended multiple. I do craft shows regularly, but I don't know how to put on an event because I would not be able to plan the way that it needs to be planned for, right? I don't think of these things. A couple of back in April, I was at an event and a lady was walking in front of my booth and she stepped in a hole just wrong and broke her ankle. And we, like all the vendors around me, and I heard it. And then we just had to stand there waiting for the paramedics to come because there was no ambulance on site. And I was talking to the gal that runs my arts market that I do, and she was there that day, as a vendor actually instead of as an organizer. And she was like, yeah, whenever I do big events like that, depending on how many people there are, we hire EMTs to be on site, um, through the county, and that should be done, right? So that's something that I didn't even think of. That, like, I didn't even think, oh yeah, I should probably have, if I'm going to have a ton of people, somebody's going to get hurt, I should have an ambulance on hand just in case, right? So things like that. Not everybody is cut out to be an event coordinator. Now, can everyone can anyone learn to be an event coordinator? Yeah, probably. Like, I don't see why not. Because once you get the list of all the things you need to do now, it does take some nuance because as the event is going on, you have to be able to pivot and shift things around as needed, right? But for the most part, in your planning, you're going to go for my gal who does my markets. She does our big Pride market, next month, at the end of the next month, that I'm so excited to go to. I'm so excited. That's what most of these bookmarks are going for, is that Pride market. Um, but she makes sure that Pride market, that the booth spaces are ADA compliant. She's making sure that all fire codes are being maintained. She is in charge of making sure that guests are provided food and water. Like, she has all of these things that she has to do, right? Planning an event like this is not easy. So the idea of planning your first event, I don't know if it was her first. Let me be real clear here. I don't know if it was actually her first event. Um, but planning an event like that in a convention center, like, I feel like I would even, before I could be a vendor at something like that, I would want to go once just to check it out and see what it's like. That's not what I do. Don't, like, let's be real clear here. That's paranoid me talking, acting like we would do things differently than we normally do. No, no, no. We charge in head first, ask no questions, and just take the results, whatever we get. But no, not everybody can put on events, and putting on an event is a lot harder than some people think. Like, it's not just sell tickets, decorate a room, and then ta-da, you're golden, right? There is so much more to planning an event like this. Um, should she have canceled? Yes, absolutely. Now, also, should you be mean to her? No. That's my point number 4 is don't be mean, right? We can judge her actions, but if you were not at that event, if you were not there, please do not contact this person. If you are not directly affected, if you're not asking for your refund because you were there or what have you, please do not go harass her. I cannot imagine what this poor girl is going through right now. Now, is it a pit that she made herself? Yes. Do I still feel bad that she's in it? Yeah, for sure. Faux show. So, lesson number 1, ask questions. Lesson number 2, be a helper. Lesson number 3, not everyone can plan an event. And lesson 4, don't be mean. Don't be mean. So, I think that's all I'm going to ramble about today. It is about time for me to go in and get my kids started on breakfast. Today, my plan is to watch some more of the Karen Reed trial. Um, I know they didn't have court on Tuesday, and then they did yesterday, but I was doing stuff all day yesterday, so I did not get to listen in yesterday. So I need to watch a few recaps of that, and then I'm going to watch the trial. I'm going to have it going on in the background today, where I have the trial going for Karen Reed retrial. So probably tomorrow's topic will be that. I don't know. If you liked this, if you stuck around through all of my rambliness and body doubled with me, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being here. I am truly honored that you would spend the time with me. Um, I hope to do maybe one of these a day. I don't know. We'll see how far I get. Also, it's trash day, and all of the trash trucks are about to drive by, so it's going to get loud. So, I love you, and I hope you have a marvelous day. I hope it's beautiful, and I hope you don't step in a wet puddle with socks on today because that'll ruin anybody's day, and you don't need that today. I hope you have a great one.